It's all done. You jump. The ship becomes a sun behind you. The shockwave hits you underwater like a fist from God. You surface into fire, debris raining, the hull folding in half against a black sky. You don't look back. You feel the blood before you see it. Something in the explosion caught you on the way down. Left side, deep. You float on your back for a moment. The fire is beautiful from here. Orange against black. The whole ship just gone. You think about her. You go under. 8 months earlier, you were nobody. Level 1, the nobody. That's the job. DEA Special Operations, deep cover. You've been inside the Vega network for 14 months. Not as an agent, as a man named Carlos Reyes, who moved pharmaceutical equipment across the border and asks no questions about what else gets moved with it. You have a warehouse in Culiacan, a truck, a legitimate business that 3 accountants in Phoenix maintain without knowing what it's for. You attend cartel functions as a trusted associate. Not inner circle, not muscle, just a useful man with clean paperwork and a reputation for discretion. Every Thursday night, you photograph documents. Every Friday morning, those photographs leave Culiacan in encrypted packets, bouncing through 4 servers before landing in a building in Washington. 14 months. Nobody has looked at you twice. This is the job. This is who you are when the job is going well. You think it's going well. Level 2, the wedding. The plaza boss's niece gets married in October. You are invited because Carlos Reyes is invited. Carlos Reyes is invited because he handled the import paperwork on the venue equipment and didn't ask questions. The wedding is at a hacienda outside the city. 300 guests, armed security at every entrance. The kind of event where being noticed is dangerous and being forgettable is survival. You are very forgettable. You photograph everything. Not obviously. Your phone, your watch, a small device in your jacket button that the tech team in Phoenix spent 3 months building. You photograph faces. The plaza boss greeting guests. The men around him. The man who arrives late and sits in the back and speaks to nobody but the plaza boss leans down to listen to for 4 minutes. By the time the cake is cut, you've tagged 38 individuals. 6 of them appear in active federal indictments. 2 are wanted in 3 countries. 1 has been officially dead since 2018. You dance with the bride's aunt. You compliment the food. You leave before midnight like a man with an early flight. You upload everything from your car before you leave the property. Every photo, every face. No hesitation. This is who you are. Remember that. Level 3, the window. You pick her up from her mother's on a Saturday. She's 9 now. She talks the whole drive about the project she's doing on volcanoes. She wants to know if lava is actually orange or if that's just how it looks on television. You tell her it's actually orange. She seems genuinely satisfied by this. You drop her home at 6. She runs inside. You stand at the car. A man is leaning against the wall of a building across the street. He wasn't there when you arrived. He walks over. He doesn't hurry. He looks like nobody. Average everything. The kind of face you forget while you're still looking at. He knows your real name. Not Carlos Reyes. Your real name. He knows your daughter's name, her school, her teacher, her mother's address, the route she walks on Tuesday afternoons. He says it all, quietly, matter of fact, like he's reading a grocery list. Then he stops. He says, "We'll be in touch." He walks away. You stand at the car for a long time. Upstairs, your daughter is at the window. She sees you standing there in the dark. She doesn't understand what she just watched. She just knows something is different about her father tonight. She lifts her hand. You wave back. She goes away from the window. You get in the car. You sit there for a very long time. Level 4, the church. 3 days later, you receive a location. A church in the south of the city. Wednesday afternoon. Come alone. You go. The church is empty except for candles and the smell of old wood. You sit in a pew near the back. A screen descends from the ceiling at the front of the church. No face on it, just a voice. The voice knows everything about you. Your real name, your operation, the building in Washington, the 14 months of photographs. It knows about your daughter. The voice says, you have a choice. It says, the information you send to Washington, send us the real information. Send Washington something else. It says, your daughter stays exactly where she is, living her life, knowing nothing. It says, or we have a different conversation. The screen goes dark. You sit in that church for a long time after. The candles burn. You walk out into the afternoon. You call Washington. You tell them the operation is progressing. You tell them you have new intelligence. You do, just not the kind you're supposed to have. Level 5. The wrong information. It starts small. A location that's slightly off. A timing that's slightly wrong. Enough to make the operation miss without being obviously sabotaged. Washington is frustrated but not suspicious. Intelligence is imprecise. That's the nature of it. You tell yourself, this is manageable. You're minimizing damage. You're buying time. Then the requests get bigger. A full operation. A warehouse raid. 12 federal agents. The cartel knows they're coming 4 hours before they arrive. The warehouse is empty, except 2 agents who came early to set up surveillance. You watch the news that night. 2 federal agents killed in what officials are calling an ambush. You sit with that. You think about the wedding photos. Every face tagged. No hesitation. You think about your daughter at the window. You tell yourself you had no choice. You tell yourself that for a long time. It doesn't get more true with repetition, does it? Level 6. The investigation. Washington starts asking questions. Not publicly, not officially, but the patterns are there, and something in a building somewhere is looking at them. 3 compromised operations in 4 months, each one clean on paper, each one wrong in the field. They're looking for a leak. They don't know it's you yet, but they're looking. Your handler calls. He says, we need to review your protocols. He says, there may be a security issue on our end. He says, nothing to worry about. You tell him you understand. You tell him you'll be careful. You hang up. You sit in your apartment in Culiacan. You have 2 problems now. The cartel owns you. Washington is looking for you. And your daughter is the reason you can't run from either. Level 7. The screen again. The church. Same pew. Same screen. Same voice. The voice says, Washington is getting close. It says, we need one more operation. The biggest one. A coordinated raid across 4 cities. 40 agents. The kind of operation that takes months to plan. It says, give us the details. All of them. Every agent. Every location. Every timeline. You sit in that pew. You think about 40 agents. 40 people with families. 40 people who trust the intelligence they're given. You think about the 2 agents from the warehouse. The news report. The photographs of 2 men you've never met, whose names you'll never forget. You say, I need time. The voice says, you have 48 hours. The screen goes dark. You walk out of the church. You don't go back to your apartment. You drive. You drive for 3 hours. And somewhere on a dark road outside the city, you make a decision that has nothing to do with the cartel or Washington or any of it. You make it for a girl who waves her arms like branches in a school play. Level 8. The hunt. You spend 2 weeks finding them. The voice on the screen. The face behind it. You use everything 14 months of deep cover gave you. Every contact. Every favor owed. Every piece of intelligence you collected. and never sent anywhere. You pull threads. The church is owned through three shell companies. The shell companies connect to a logistics operation. The logistics operation has a ship, a cargo vessel, currently docked in Veracruz, due to leave in 9 days. The voice will be on that ship. You know this the way you know things after 14 months inside a criminal organization, not because anyone told you, because of the shape of everything around it. You call Washington. Not your handler, someone above your handler, someone you've never spoken to, but whose number you were given at the start of the operation for emergencies only. You tell them everything. Not the compromised operations, not yet. Everything about the ship. They listen. They say, "We'll handle it." You say no. You say, "I'll handle it." Level 9. The ship. You board as a maintenance contractor. Forged credentials. A name that doesn't exist. A uniform that took 4 days to source. 4 days on board. You learn the layout, the cargo hold, the security rotations, the location of every camera. On the third night, you find what you came for. A cabin in the lower deck. A screen on the wall. Equipment you recognize from the church. On the fourth night, you plant the charge. It takes 11 minutes. You walk back up through the ship like a man heading to the crew mess. Nobody looks at you twice. You reach the rear deck. You look at the water below. Black, cold, 20 feet down. You take out your phone, the real one, the one with her photo on it. You look at it for a moment. She's laughing at something outside a coffee shop. Sunlight on her face, arms out like she's about to hug someone, like branches in the wind. You put the phone in the waterproof case. You strap it to your chest. You set off the charge. You jump. Level 10. The ocean. The ship becomes a sun. The shockwave hits you underwater like a fist from God. You surface into fire. Debris everywhere. The hull folding in half against the black sky. You feel the blood before you see it. Left side. Something from the explosion. Deep. You float on your back. The fire is beautiful from here. You think about a girl waving her arms like branches. You think about lava being actually orange. You think about standing in a driveway in the dark, waving back at a window. You think about 40 agents who would go home tonight. The water is cold. You feel it less now than you did a minute ago. That's not a good sign. You look at the sky. You think she'll be okay. You think she won't know. You think that's the point. That's always been the point. The fire on the water moves toward you slowly. You don't swim away from it. You just float, looking at the sky until you don't. Somewhere, a girl is at the window. Different city, different life. She's older now, 19 maybe, 20. She doesn't think about her father much anymore. He left when she was 9. Work, her mother said. He was always working. Then one day, he just didn't come back. She was angry for a long time. She's less angry now. She just doesn't think about him. She turns from the window. She goes back to her life. She doesn't know about the ship. She doesn't know about the church. She doesn't know about a man floating on his back in the Gulf of Mexico, looking at the sky. She'll never know. She waves her arms sometimes when she's happy, like she's trying to hold the wind. She doesn't know where she learned that.